Alright, so to get started today, if you're following along, go ahead and go to mykw.kw.com and log in. So today we're going to be working in eEdge in our contacts, viewing all the different ways that we can manage our CRM through eEdge. So to get in, we can just go up to the eEdge control panel up at the top and click the link that says View Contacts. Alright, this is going to bring us to a page where we can view all the different contacts in our database. There's a few different ways that we can sort through this page. We can go over to the far left and select this little box next to name. If we wanted to select all of our contacts, this box will do that. We can deselect by clicking it again, or just going through and individually clicking the people we want to edit or sort. Up here at the top it says on this little drop down that these contacts are currently sorted by contact last activity. If we wanted to sort these by, say, alphabetical order, we can click on this little drop down. Let's sort by first name. When we click on that, it's actually in reverse alphabetical order. As you can see, this arrow is pointing downward. That one is actually selected. So if we want to change this up, we can click on this other arrow, and this will move people with, it'll sort by first name in alphabetical order, people with at the beginning of the alphabet up toward the top of the list. There's a few different things that we can see on this page as well. I'll go ahead and explain the different columns that are displayed here. So of course the first column is name. Over here, do now, this column is signifying if the contact has any alerts set. So if they do have any alerts or actions, this little bell will appear, and it looks like there's one alert set, so we can click on that. Or it's a reminder actually. And this looks like a reminder that I set 28 days ago. It says call Bailey to check in. From here we can either mark this as complete or delete it. We can also go here to add a new reminder. I'll go ahead and just mark this as complete. And if we hit close, you'll see that that actually goes away. I see Scott down here has a little red bell that says follow-up due, so if we click on that, this is awesome. It says contact requested a home evaluation. So from here we can actually go in to view the contact. We can also send them a CMA directly from here. We'll actually go over that a little bit later. It looks like there are some other tasks in here. It says tell Scott he's awesome. You can either mark this as complete or delete it. I'll go ahead and mark that as complete. If we wanted to add a new reminder to somebody, we can go in the same column and hit the Add button. There's a few different types of reminders that we can add for a contact. Up here it says Type, and if we click on the little drop down, we can add either meeting, phone call, or task. I'll just choose Task. Then you can do the due date. I'll say tomorrow, and then of course change the time. Let's say 3 p.m. I'll just say send Bailey follow-up email. So you can write in the notes for the reminder, whatever's going to help you remember what you need to do for this contact, and then hit save. Perfect, now we can see there is one reminder for this contact. In this column that says contact, this is just displaying what contact information we have for that person. For most of these contacts, it looks like we just have an email. So if we click on that, it'll actually show you what their email address is. If you click on that, it'll take you into e-edge your messages, and you can actually compose a message right there. I'm going to go back. Looks like one of our contacts also has a phone number, so if we click on that, it will display their office number. And then if you click on it, it'll try to FaceTime them or maybe Skype them, depending on what programs you have on your computer. This group column will show what groups the contact is in. So it looks like all of these contacts are in groups because this little icon is blue. So if we click on that, it'll show us which groups these people are in and if those groups are actually assigned to any campaigns. If we wanted to edit this, we could of course check the boxes for other groups to add them to a new group. We can uncheck this to remove them from the coworkers group and then hit save down at the bottom. In this marketing column, this little water drop looking icon, this is actually meaning that they are on a drip campaign. So if we click on this, it will show what campaigns that contact is on. So it looks like me, Bailey Smith, I'm on the monthly newsletter. Looks like we also have a 33 touch running, but it's paused. So I could actually add this contact to this campaign as well from here, or of course if I wanted to remove them, I could uncheck this box and that will remove them from the campaign. You can make whatever changes you need to and then just click save and that will update right away. Looking for, this would be any information that we've added into their contact. I'll go ahead and show you that when we add a new person, but it looks like this will display if they have like a price range and what area that they're looking for a home in. Listing search, we can add that here by clicking the add button in this column. And this is just to add in information that they're looking for. So I'll say, I think, let's see, I want to say this office is in Florida. So I'll say Orlando. I don't really know too much about Florida, so I'll just say orange. This is so you can send them listing alerts through, this will basically, you put in what categories for what they're looking for in a home. Things like their price range, beds, baths, if they're looking for a single family home, a condo, what have you. And then you can enter that information. Say I'm looking for a house for $550,000 up into, say, $850,000. I know that's a huge range. I want at least 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. And we don't want a rental. So I'll just uncheck those. And then if I hit save, this contact will actually start to receive listing alerts. Up here on the send column, you can choose the frequency at which they receive them. Right now it looks like it's set as daily. You can also do it as soon as available. So if a new property comes out, they'll receive that at that time. You can, space it out twice a week, weekly, twice a month, monthly, or never. So we can just set that up and hit save. And now when there is a listing alert set up for somebody, there will be this little house icon here. I'm actually going to remove this. When I clicked on that, it shows the details of this listing alert. I don't actually want to receive these, so I'm going to hit delete search. Perfect. And that went away. In this column for properties, if this person is receiving listing alerts or maybe they're just looking around on your website, you can actually see if they have viewed or favorited any listings. And then when you click on that, it looks like none of these contacts have actually looked at anything, but if you click on that, you will be able, it'll take you in and then you'll be able to see their activity. But we'll go over that a little bit later. All right, source. This shows the date that this person was added into your database, as well as the way that they were added. So it looks like Bailey Smith, this person was entered manually, and it looks like these other people were imported. I believe it'll say if somebody signed up on your website, things like that. So this is just where that contact came from and when they were added to your database. Over here for last activity, looks like, let's see what this little icon means. Looks like we deleted a listing alert. I don't really know what this little headphone thing means. Maybe this means it's something that you did. Yes. So it looks like for this, when you click on it, it'll say what you did for this contact. That was their most recent activity. You assigned them to a drip campaign. Over here for Scott Leroy, this is probably, yep, contact requested a home evaluation, things like that. So you can just keep track of what this contact has been doing and what their most recent activity with you is. Over here to the right, there is the status column. This is really just for you. You can mark people as lead, hot, warm, cold, retry, pending, sold, or trash. We usually mark most people as warm unless they truly are like a cold status. There we go. We can change that directly from here. And then over on the far right, the actions column, if we click on more, we can do things like send this person an email, send them listings, send a CMA, add a note to the history section, and view the contact. So let's go in and actually add a person. We can do that by going up to the top, clicking on the little contacts tab up here, and then we're going to click this third option that says create contact. All right, so here we have a lot of different information that we can enter when adding a contact. Things that are required, we need at least the first name and last name. And then for contact information, we need either a phone number, an email address, or a physical address, like a mailing address. So let's just go ahead and add somebody. Starting up here at the top left, the status. If you do choose someone as a lead, it will put them into that My Lead section on the home page. So if we added somebody there, this number would increase to 2, which is totally fine. It's just however you want to keep track of these people. Like I said, we normally enter contacts in as warm. So I'm just going to add, I like adding people from my office because I know their emails. So I'm going to add Ann, first name and last name. Sometimes what we'll do if we don't know a contact's last name, you can actually just put a period in that box, and that'll accept it as well. Sometimes if you don't know the person's name at all and you just have an email, we will do their email address as the first name, and then a period as the last name, and it'll actually accept that as well. But since I know this person's name, I'll just enter it here. Over here to the right, we can put the type, whether they are a buyer, seller, buyer/seller, lead, renter, investor, past client, agent, vendor, personal contact, or other. I'm going to mark her as a personal contact. Subtype and category. These are really just for you to help keep track of your contacts. When we're in all contacts, which I'll go over, you can actually go in and search by things like the subtype and the category. So I would probably do something like subtype coworker, and then maybe category Scott Leroy Marketing. But you can do this however you want. You can sort these as like church group, PTA, community service group, Elks Lodge, things like that. So it's really just to help you keep track of these contacts. Now, like I said, we do need some form of contact information, whether that's a phone number, an email address, or a physical address. I'm just going to go ahead and add in her email address. We have room for a primary email and a secondary email. We also have spots for a home number, phone number, or home phone number, cell number, and a work number. Over here to the left, we can add things like a nickname, their gender, the company they work for, job title. It is really cool if you have their birthday or their purchase anniversary. eEdge actually has a couple different campaigns where you can set up a birthday campaign or a purchase anniversary campaign. So if you have this information, every year on that date, they will get a nice little reminder from you, either a happy birthday message or a happy purchase anniversary message. So if you have this information, definitely enter it. Referral info, you can put things like open house, Zillow, Trulia, what have you. Notes, if you have any notes on this person, say like met Anne at open house. Oop, it's 2018. Things like that. Any notes you want to add for this person. Right down here, we can add in their address if you have it. You can also, if you mark this option as a mailing address, you can create printing labels for these people, which is really awesome. eEdge has this new feature. So if you do have this information, go ahead and add it. So I'll just say 123 Main Street, Disneyland, California. I don't know the zip. All right, and then you can add in more information, of course, if you have it, if you know the property type, square feet, beds, baths, what have you. All right, secondary details. If you have, this is great if this person has a spouse or maybe a family member you want to add into their contact information. You can add that here, and you can also add in their phone number or email address or any other family member names. We have different options here for secondary details, everything from cousin to unknown. Information and activity. So when we were back on that, the view all contacts page under my contact, it said $0 in Nashville. So this is what I was talking about. If this person is a buyer, you can put that information in. Let's say Anne is looking in Miami and her maximum budget is $1 million. We can enter that information here. Down at the bottom, there's this little tab that says emails, and then it says check here to send welcome email to this contact. So if you click this little box, it'll actually expand and show you what the welcome email is. So just so you know, when you send out this welcome email, it creates a login for your eEdge site. So what it does is this says, I've signed you up on my website and you now have access to homes for sale on the market today. Using your new password on the website, you can save listings, view listings, what have you. So just so you guys know, this is for your eEdge site, not your Playster site. So depending on what site you're using, you may or may not want to do this. The great thing about the eEdge site is everything is kind of all in one place. So if somebody is using your eEdge site and looking for properties, that information is going to come back into this CRM and be stored. You can track everything, but it's really your preference. KW is still encouraging people to use their Playster site as the main site, but that isn't fully integrated into this system at this time. So leads will still come over into eEdge from Playster, but if you really want to track everything in a lot more detail like this is offering, you would do it through eEdge. So I just want to let you guys know that this welcome message is referring to your eEdge site. I'm actually just going to uncheck this. I don't want to send Anne that welcome email. And then down at the very bottom, if we click on this tab for groups, this will show us all the different groups that you have in your database. If you'd like to add this person to a group, you can just check the boxes next to whatever groups you'd like to add them to, and then hit save. And now this person is in our database. There's lots of things you can do once a person is actually added in. You can go in, of course, and make any changes if you get updated information for them. Up here at the top, right now we're on the Summary tab. If we click on this second tab that says Listings, like I said, if this person is using your eEdge site or they're receiving listing alerts, you can actually keep track of the different information that they're looking at. Any listing alerts that are set up, you'll be able to see the information here. You'll be able to see the name of the listing alert, the location, those categories that you set up, and then how often these are being sent out. If any listing alerts have been sent, you can expand this and it'll actually show you here. It'll say the date that the listing alert was sent, what listings were sent, and if that person opened or clicked them. Just another way to keep track of what your client is doing so you can follow up with them. And then down below, if you want to see if they've saved any listings, that information will be stored here. You'll be able to see the listings. You aren't able to see what listings the contact has just viewed. You would have to sign up for Market Leader Pro for that. But you are able to see listing alerts that were sent, and if they opened them or clicked them, and if they've saved any properties. So you still get to view a lot of information. Going back up, if we click on the Transactions tab, this is actually integrated with .loop. So that information will be stored here if this person is on a loop for a transaction with you. And then over here to History, we can see the history of that contact. So it'll actually lay out everything on here. It'll show, like right here, it says contact added. Ann Leonard was added to this site. It'll show, Ann Leonard was set up on a listing alert, sent a CMA, what have you. So if you want to track what actually has happened with this contact, you can go over to this History tab. I'm going to go back to Summary. So this is the page where we added all of their information. Like I said, you can always come back in here and hit this Edit button to make any changes to this contact. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we have some new options down here. So I'm just going to click Show All and go through these really quick. If you want to keep track of any emails that were sent or received through eEdge with this contact, that information will be displayed here. You can see emails that were received from the contact, and if there were any, you could actually click on them and go in and view them and reply to them. And then any emails that you sent to this contact. It'll show the date that it was sent, I believe the subject here, and then if they opened or clicked them, which is really great. Reminders, we already went over how to add a reminder for somebody and what that looked like, but you could see any reminders that are set up for this contact here, and if you wanted to add a new reminder, you could click this button. Campaign, super similar to before. If this contact is on any campaigns, that will be displayed here. You can see when they were added, the last time they got that email, what have you. If you wanted to add this person to a contact or to a campaign, you could click Add Contact to Campaign. It will only show you campaigns that are currently active in your account. It looks like we only have the monthly newsletter that is currently running at this time. So if I wanted to add her to this, we can just click the Add button under Actions next to the appropriate campaign. And then once we hit Close, we'll see that this contact is now on a campaign. But I'm actually going to remove her from that by going over to Actions and clicking on this little blue X button. All right, and lastly, we can see if this contact is in any groups. This is the list of groups currently assigned to this contact. It looks like Anne is in the coworkers group. We can create a new group here. if we wanted to. And then if we wanted to add or remove this person from groups, we can click on either one of these buttons. Check the boxes. And now Anne is actually part of 2 groups. And same thing, if you wanted to remove them from groups, you could just click on the little blue X, or you can hit the Remove from Groups button and uncheck the boxes. Or actually just check the ones next to whatever one you want to remove her from. All right, last thing I want to go over super quick, if we scroll all the way up back to the top, we're still in this contacts information. Over here to the right, we can see the status. We can see if any reminders are set. We can send an email, send listings, and more actions. I'm going to click on more actions. So we already went over how to set up a listing alert. We know how to add them to a campaign. One thing I do want to show you is how you can actually send a CMA to this person. So if we click on this option for send a CMA, we can create a CMA report right here in eEdge. So we have a few different options. We can email it over to that contact. You can download the PDF, maybe print it out and give it to that person in a presentation, or you can email it and download the PDF. I'm just going to download PDF. Awesome. So if you have an address, you can enter it here. If the contact has an address, it'll appear here in this little drop down. If you don't have it, you can just type that in manually. Let's see, I don't have an address. Let me find one really quick. All right, so you can say that they have a property address and they want a CMA report. You can go in here and enter that information. So I'll just do this one, 1, 2, 3, 6. I wonder if this is anybody's listing in here. That would be interesting. Livingston Street in Orlando, Florida. All right, perfect. So now what this will do, we can compare other properties that are similar to this home. We can look for ones with however many beds, baths, what have you. We can put in the price range. Ooh, not 5 million. Okay, so then you can put in the price range and compare homes to this property. It will put in a little introduction for you. I've put together a home market evaluation for you. Below you will see the price range I've estimated for your home, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you can edit this information. There we go. Go ahead and continue. And oops, it looks like it did not give me. There we go. And then of course you can enter in the information. I guess it didn't like my price range. Okay. Well, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to bring up active listings and show you listings in that area. You can look at active listings and sold listings and then add in a closing message here. And then what you'll do is it'll spit out a nice little CMA report for you. This is what it looks like. Of course, right here, there will be those listings that you can compare. And you can either email this or print this out and give it to your client. So If you guys have an actual like listing property or property listing that you can compare to, it will pull up those different listings and you can present that to your client. All right, so once you've added a contact, one of the more important things you need to do is add them to a group. I think adding a contact to a group makes it much easier to manage all of your contacts in eEdge, especially if you have a ton of people in there. So if we go up to contacts at the top right, we're going to click on the option that says Manage Groups. All right, this is super important for especially for when you're importing contacts. I think it's really good to group them so they don't just get lost in a giant folder of all of your contacts, and then, you know, say you have thousands of people, it will be hard to sort through them. So on this page, you can actually come in and create and manage your groups. If we wanted to create a new group, we could go over here. Let's say we have a group of contacts from the YMCA. Over here we can type in the group name and hit save. And now that group has been added. I believe you can have over 50 groups in here. That's why we have all these random number groups, and we were just trying to figure out how many groups you could have. If we wanted to, so over here at the left, it will display the group name. It will show the number of contacts in that group. It'll show contact types. Oops. And then any associated campaigns. You can actually add a group to a campaign, which is awesome. What that means is if a contact is added to a group and that group is on a campaign, that person will automatically be put on the campaign with everybody else in that group. If you added a new person to a group, you also had to manually go in and add them to a campaign. So this kind of just does it for you automatically, which makes it really easy. If we wanted to change the group name, we could go over here and hit this little pencil button. And if we wanted to delete a group, we can click on this little blue X. One thing to note, if you remove a group, if you delete a group, that does not delete the people in that group. So say we deleted this 12 direct group, this one contact in there would not be deleted. It would just basically be removed from that group and just floating in basically like the general pool of all your contacts. So just keep that in mind. If we scroll down, I just want to show you, let's see, this group, coworkers, has the most people in it. If we wanted to view only this group, we could come in, and if we click on that number, it's going to take us back to that View All Contacts page, but now we have a filter on. So up at the top, this little blue box is showing what filters you actually have set, and we are in Groups Coworkers. So now it's only showing people in that coworkers group. And if we clear that filter, now it's showing everybody in our database. A couple more things to note on this page. Over here on the left, you can see underneath these names, there's a few different icons. So this little circle, this actually notates the contact type. So it looks like if it's blue, they're a buyer, and it looks like the rest of these people are set as a personal contact. If you were to set them as a seller or a vendor, what have you, those colors would be different. The little G, this is actually to Google search that person. So if you click on that, it's not going to search this specific person, it's just Google searching their name. So if you Google searched Scott Leroy, since he is really awesome with his SEO, and we have websites and what have you, different profiles, his business is going to pop up. But if we Google search Bailey Smith, which is me, it's just searching my name, not actually searching for me. So sorry to disappoint, but I am not this man. So just keep that in mind. If you do use this feature, you may not actually find results pertaining to that specific contact. It's just searching their name. So in here, we can actually sort through and filter our contacts. This is really great for people who have a lot of contacts in their database. So what we can do is we can go up here to the filters button, and I'll show you the different ways that we can sort and search through our contacts. So when we click on that, this box pops up that says Contact Search Filters, and there's a ton of different ways that we can sort through people. We can sort through things like their name, their email address, phone number, mailing address. Say you want to search people that only have phone numbers. This little box over here that says exists, you could say yes, and it'll only show you people with phone numbers. Maybe you want to view people that don't have mailing addresses. You can hit that and now hit search, and it'll show you contacts that don't have mailing addresses. Maybe you want to reach out to them. Maybe you want to say yes to phone number and no to mailing address. If you sort it that way, it'll show you people with phone numbers and no mailing addresses, and then you can actually reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to send you something. Can I have your mailing address? So that's what those little boxes mean. We can also search by status, email status. Maybe you only want to see people that have unsubscribed from things, so you can delete them. Lead source, this is whatever you typed into that contact. Maybe you have entered people that you've met at open houses and you only want to view people from those lead sources. You can type in open house and hit search, and it'll sort that way. Category, once again, these are things that you typed in. Referral info, comments or history. Maybe you've made specific notes in multiple people's contacts to help you find them. You can enter those words here. You can also search by notification. Anybody who has any open requests, or if they've requested a CMA or a property showing, you can view those people. Marketing, we can filter by group, of course, and if we click on that, it'll show us all of our different groups. So if we were to select coworkers, where is it? And then hit search, it'll only show us contacts in that coworkers group. Just going to uncheck that. You can view people that have saved listing searches or people that are on campaigns. Maybe you want to view people that aren't on campaigns, and then you can actually add them to a campaign. Over here, we can filter by type, subtype, what city they're looking in, their budget, and then things like the date the contact was created, their last outreach, and the date they were last active. So I'll just go ahead and I'm going to go by this on active campaign feature, and I'm going to say no. I want to view contacts that are not on a campaign. If I go up and click the yellow, it's orange and then it turns yellow, search button. All right, so it's going to show me so up here it'll show you what filter is currently being used. So this says on active campaign, no. So all of these contacts, none of them are on a campaign. So let's say I want to add them to a campaign. What we can do is we can check the boxes next to the people we want to add. If we want to just select everybody, we can click the little box next to name, and that'll select everyone. And now up here we have two new buttons. One says print labels. So if we had mailing addresses for these people and we hit this, it'll give you a nice little document with print labels, mailing labels for you. But if we click on this bulk update button, okay, we have a couple options here. We can edit the records, or we can send the contacts to the trash. For now, I'm just going to show you how to edit. So that is selected. We can click continue. And we have a few different options of what we can edit for these multiple selected contacts. All right, choose the fields you wish to change on the 8 selected contacts. So say we want to add or remove someone from a group. We can click on this. We can choose add to groups, remove from groups, add to campaigns, or remove from campaigns. So we can go through, add them to different groups, add them to different campaigns. Category, maybe we wanted to change the category for all of these people. You can type in whatever category that is. Company, we can either change the company for everybody or just remove it completely. So I'll just add in for everybody here since these are all my coworkers. I'll say Scott, Leroy, Marketing, and now all of those people will be updated with that company information. We can change the status. Maybe we wanted to change all of these to lead or a different status. I'll say cold. And if we want to add a note to all of them, maybe this is a list of people that you made calls for on this specific day. You can say called for 12/18. And then I actually don't want to add these people to campaigns, so I'm going to uncheck that. And then that's fine if they're added to those groups. So once we've made those changes or selected what changes we'd like to make, we can click Update Now. Oops, I don't want to add a category. All right, Update Now. There we go, and now these contacts have been updated. And then, of course, if we want to delete people, we can do that as well. We can click select whatever contacts we'd like to delete and click Bulk Update. Now, instead of edit their records, we're going to select send these contacts to the trash. So if you do this, it's actually just going to put them in a trash folder. But if you select this box, permanently delete the contacts. So please make sure that you actually want to do this because that's what this big red scary message is saying. Warning, there is no undoing this action. These contacts will be permanently deleted from your database. So please make sure that you actually want to delete these people before you do this, because if you accidentally permanently delete your contacts, you're probably not going to get them back. So if we click Delete Now, there we go, those people have been removed. One thing to note, I'll go ahead and clear this filter out. If you are removing contacts, and say maybe you're clearing out your whole database or you're deleting a lot of people, maybe you're deleting a group so you can re-import it. This database will only delete 400 people at a time, I believe. So if you check this box and say it said like 1,000 selected, and you did bulk update, send these contacts to the trash, and then permanently delete, it will take it. You will have to do that a few times. Like I said, I think it only does 400 at a time. So you'll have to do that multiple times and refresh this page, and then you'll be able to fully delete everyone. But if you are working on that and you have questions or concerns, let us know and we can help you out. So the last thing I want to show you is how we can import and export contacts into and out of our database. So if we go up to the top right and click on Contacts, we're going to click the last option that says Import/Export Contacts. All right, I'm going to show you exporting first because it's super easy. So right now we're on the import page, but if we click on the tab for export, we can filter the contacts we would like to basically pull out of our database. So up here it says contact groups. We can select, say we want to select a certain group. We only want to pull out people from our SOI group. We can choose that, or select multiple groups. If you want to just pull everybody out of here at once, go ahead and disregard that and don't select any boxes. Now, super importantly, if we want to remove people, this does set it automatically to the cold status. I wish it changed it to all, because say you want to just pull everybody out of here, and you don't change this, if you hit export, it's only going to pull people with that cold status. So make sure you have the status that you actually want. Maybe you do only want to pull out your leads or your cold people. But if you want to pull out everybody, make sure that this contact status is set to all. But once you do that, you can click export, and this will save a file to your computer. And once we open this up, we can see our exported file. So this pulled everybody out of our database, and you can view their information. I know some people, they like, when they make calls, they like to actually highlight people, write in notes, mark them off on a paper, like check off a list that they actually called them. So this is how you can pull out that list of contacts. If you're leaving KW, I would recommend exporting your contacts out just so you don't lose them, and then of course you can delete them out of eEdge. But they'll be deleted eventually once your account is deleted. Nobody has access to those except for you. So those are our exported contacts, and just before we wrap up today, I will show you how to import. So going back over to that import tab. So our first step in this process is this one. It says select your type of contact list. So if we click on this little drop down under type of file, we have a few different options. We have basic contact list, Outlook, top producer, and my real estate tools, my red tools. So this is awesome. You can import contacts directly from these three programs, and you won't have to change your list around. So you have top producer contacts or Outlook contacts. You can just add that list directly. But most of you will probably be working with the basic contact list. So I'll select that. It's showing down below that there are minimum requirements, same as when we were manually adding a person. We have to have a first name, a last name, and either an email address or a phone number or a mailing address. So we do have to use eEdge's template to import contacts. You can't add in, say you exported a file from Yahoo or from Gmail, you can't just add in that list. You actually have to convert it to eEdge's format, and then the system will take it. So we're going to click this little option here down below that says download basic contact list template. So when we save that and open it, this is the file that we have to put our contacts into in order to import them. So I know this list definitely looks a little scary. Let me minimize this a little bit. There's a ton of options in here, as you can see. But fear not, you don't need every single thing for these contacts. So like I said, we only need a first name, last name, and then either an email address, a phone number, or a mailing address. So I'm just going to add in some people real quick. Let's see, I don't know whose emails I haven't already added into the system. I don't think Ariel was in there. I'm just going to add in some people. And like I said, if you don't know somebody's last name, you can just put in first name and a dot, and then add in their email address. That'll work too. You do need at least 5 contacts for this list to be imported. One thing to note, we usually say if it's less than 15 people, it might be quicker for you to just add them in manually, but if you have the list, in order for it to update, has to have at least 5 people, and then you can import it. All right, perfect. So we have our 5 contacts. They all have a first name, last name, and an email address. You can also add in a mailing address or whatever address one here. It'll also take a phone number. Most of the time we do cell phone number. That seems to work. So importing contacts can definitely be tricky. If you have problems, let us know or send us your list and we can help you out. One thing to definitely keep in mind, this first column, we can't make any changes to that. So where it says first name, last name, what have you, you can't change the wording here, you can't change the spacing. Don't touch it at all, because for some reason that makes the system unhappy and then it won't take your list. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and save this. And let's see if the system will take it. So we'll go back to our browser. So step 1, we chose basic contact list. Step 2 is our import options. We can choose the status. Most of the time we import people as warm. Contact type. I'll just say buyer. And then if we'd like to add these people to a group, let's just add them to our 33 touch group. And then over here, attach and import. We can select our list. And then this little note here basically says people have opted in to receive these emails. Make sure you check that box. And then we can hit the blue import button. And let's cross our fingers and hope that this works. So sometimes this does not work. Sometimes it says that these emails are bad. I don't believe any of these emails are bad. But what I'll do is sometimes it just gives you this message. So what we'll do is we can just add in an email that we know works. Sometimes we add in just a test email. Let's see. So I'll just add in an email that I know works, slmquestionnaire@gmail.com. Perfect. So what we'll do sometimes, the first 6 rows have to be perfect. So what I'll do is I will make 5 rows of the same email address, and for some reason this will work. And when importing, another thing to note, it doesn't take duplicates. So if you have multiple or the same person on a list multiple times, it won't add them into the system multiple times, and if you have somebody already in your database and you're trying to import a new list and they're on that list, it won't import them again. So this is probably a great example to show you guys. So what I did was, there's an email in here that for some reason the system isn't liking. I'm not totally sure which one it is. But what I did was I put in a test person, and I know that this is a good email. So I'm just going to add that in for the first 5 rows, so 2 through 6. Looks like I have an extra one there. And then we can go back here and select our options again. And the system should take it now. That's just a little workaround that we have found. Like I said, the system isn't perfect. There are little glitches sometimes, but if we just tweak it and play with it a little bit, we can definitely figure out how to make it work. So looks like that's working. Down below we can see the status of any imported contact lists. Looks like this one is waiting to run. It'll show you the time that we started that import. If we give this a couple minutes and refresh, it'll show us the time that the job ended, and then it'll over here show us how many contacts were imported and how many failed. So on this failed one, you can actually click on this. It'll show a number here of how many contacts were not imported, and when you click on that, you can view the details as to why. Sometimes it'll say duplicate, a contact with this information already exists. It'll say bad email, what have you. So let's refresh and just see. It's still waiting to run. So that does take a couple minutes, but that is actually about it for today. I know we went over a ton of information, but this class will be recorded and we're going to add this to our website and to our YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go back through and do a refresher, this will definitely be available. But if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email. We are here Monday through Friday. Our phones are on 10 to 6 Eastern Time, and then our email is available 9 to 6 Eastern Time. Once again, that's Monday through Friday. So I'm just going to pull up, let's see. Oh, looks like I exited out of here. I'm going to pull up this PowerPoint with our contact information and any support numbers that you guys might need. But that is actually, where is it? All right, there we go. Slideshow. All right, well, that is actually it for today. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this class and have a great day.